I think you called me a liar on national TV.
What?
I think you called me a liar on national TV.
Let's not do it right now. You want to have that discussion? We'll have that
Anytime.
discussion. You called me. You told me. All right, let's not do it now.
I don't want to get in the middle of it. I just want to say hi, Bernie.
Yeah, good.
Let's treat this.
Okay.
That was a video released by CNN right before I had an appearance on Chris Cuomo's show. So naturally, we had a discussion about it on Chris Cuomo's show. Now, following the video that we're about to show you, I'll give you some more of my thoughts. So let's take a quick look.
We know, as we all have talked about, that Hillary Clinton did win the popular vote.
No
so
question
it's not
about
true,
it.
even if you believe
and
it.
she whooped Bernie Sanders also. You can argue about the process, but clearly a woman got tons of support, both in party and in this country. And also, I agree with your analysis step for step about its importance. Anna, here's why it matters to me, okay?
Yeah.
Truth.
Can I just note one quick thing?
Go ahead,
I
and then
agree
you can
with a
answer
lot
my
of
question.
what.
Go ahead.
Sure, of course. I agree with a lot of what Angela said, but I also want to just note part of the reason why Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by as much as 3 million votes is because Bernie Sanders campaigned on her behalf, traveling like crazy to campaign on her behalf. Why would he go out of his way to do that if he didn't believe a woman could win as president of the United States?
I think people would say that that's a generous assessment of what he did on her behalf.
Would.
But look, again, I don't think it's necessarily relevant, Anna. I don't think it's worth going back to that.
Okay, so everyone calm down because there was a reaction online that I think could be communicated in a more effective way. So there's obviously a disagreement here, but please be respectful to Cuomo because he invites me on that show to specifically share my progressive perspective. No one else does that. And it's important to have, allies who disagree with you maybe on ideology, but are willing to have you on to share a perspective that they disagree with. No one is willing to do that other than Cuomo. So everyone calm down, please don't go after him. That's not helpful to anyone. But with that said, I do want to kind of push back against this notion that Bernie Sanders did not campaign on behalf of Hillary Clinton as aggressively as I believe he did. So first off, quick headline. Okay, so this was a headline in 2016 written by the New Yorker. Bernie Sanders' hard fight for Hillary Clinton. Why was it a hard fight? He went to 40 rallies on her behalf. He rallied more times than she did in that time period after he had conceded in the Democratic primary in 2016.
That I did not know.
Yeah, so he
I didn't know it was more. 40's a lot of rallies.
A lot, and not only that, look, you might say, oh, come on, Anna, you endorsed Bernie, so you're biased, this is unfair. I think it's important to hear from Hillary Clinton herself. So let's go to this video of her in 2016.
She will be the Democratic nominee for president. And I intend to do everything I can to make certain she will be the next president of the United States.
So there's Bernie at one of the rallies, and then there's also a video of Hillary Clinton thanking Bernie for campaigning for her. Take a look.
I really want to thank my friend Bernie Sanders for everything that he has done. I got to serve with Bernie. We were colleagues in the Senate. I saw firsthand his commitment to the people of Vermont and to the values that have guided his life. And when we faced each other in the primary, here's what I was so proud about. We ran a campaign on the issues that matter to the American people. And I want to thank Bernie for everything he's done. He's crisscrossing our country, energizing people, getting folks off the sidelines and engaged in politics. And there's no question that his efforts are paying off.
Well, there would be a question a few years later, I guess.
Well, I think that it's important to listen to Hillary Clinton. I think we should listen to women, and that was when his campaigning for her was fresh and her memory of it was fresh. And she thanked him for it and talked about how he was crisscrossing across the country in order to rally people to support her. And that was huge. And she said that it helped her campaign. And the reason why I showed you the video of Bernie before that one is because there's this idea that Bernie would just trash Hillary Clinton. He never, ever attacked her personally, and he only focused on the issues and the differences between them policy-wise during the primary. Remember, they're running against each other in the Democratic primary. And the only reason why I brought that up is because in the context of this whole debacle with Elizabeth Warren, there's this idea that Bernie Sanders doesn't believe a woman could win. Well, if he didn't believe that, why would he campaign on behalf of Hillary Clinton? And more importantly, why did he encourage Elizabeth Warren to run in 2016?
Wouldn't make any sense.
Look, these are important. No one was in that room. No one was in that room when Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren had that conversation. So we can't make a judgment call based on that conversation because we don't know the wording of it. We don't know the context of the discussion. We don't know any of that.
Yeah.
What we do know is who Bernie Sanders is as a person, and we know what his actions have been when it comes to this specific topic. And that's the reason why I brought that up.
Yeah.
John.
Yeah, I think, look, at this point, I think no one's gonna change their mind about what they think happened in that room. Everyone is sure that they know, and no one is going to change their mind. I think it's ridiculous to think that he thinks that a woman can't win. We've laid out decades of evidence. Doesn't seem like it's gonna matter. But more importantly, some of the commentary from after the debate is, look at Bernie being vicious. They've even spun that interaction we showed you with the handshake as him being bad in some fashion. He doesn't have a mean bone in his body. And watching those older videos, like, how can you not love him that he's standing beside Hillary Clinton when she and her supporters were vicious to him month after month after month, and he still did so much to try to get her elected, as hard as it must have been. And my heart goes out to him, even though at the time he was being attacked even by some of his supporters. They didn't like that he was doing that, but he still did it because he was doing what he believed was right. And as soon as the election was done, he would not get one iota of credit for it for the rest of his life. And he must have known that it wasn't going to benefit him personally, but he was doing it because he thought it was best for the country.
Meg from our members section, and members are a huge part of our show. Become a member by going to tyt.com/join. Meg writes in and says, Bernie did so many rallies for Hillary that her staff got annoyed with all his traveling expenses, if I remember correctly. And you do remember correctly. That was a story that was published way after the election. I believe it was in Politico. And it was honestly a gross story because it was people who worked in Hillary's campaign looking to smear Bernie after the fact. I didn't really understand the reasoning behind doing that. It didn't play well for Hillary. But what I will say is, look, I didn't say anything that was outrageous in that segment, and
not at all.
A lot of people are asking me, well, why didn't you push back immediately and mention the number of rallies that Bernie did on her behalf? And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I knew that he had done a lot of rallies. I didn't remember the exact number, and I care so much in being accurate that I held back in that case, right? And I wish I had it, but I think it's better to hold back rather than share an inaccurate number or misinformation. But I was just kind of shocked at like how surprised or shocked, Angela Rye was. She wasn't buying it, and I don't think that they're bad people. It's just maybe they didn't know. But
it's a very different media bubble. I will say that. And look, you could have said the number, I guess, but look, you cut off Cuomo to make sure that you got in that Bernie campaigned for Hillary. Like, that's what you should have done. You did it.
And then there was one other part of this interview I wanted to share with you. So let's take a quick look at that.
All I'm saying is this. I don't care if he said to Elizabeth Warren, I don't think a woman can win. I think that you could argue that lots of different ways about why he said it, what he meant, what was the context. I don't really care. I really don't. What I do care about.
Seems like CNN cares a lot. I mean, you guys have been covering it.
But here's what I care about. I care about the truth. The best thing you guys have going as a party, no matter what part of it you are, is Donald Trump lies to you all the time. And we won't lie like that. That's your best argument, I think, person to person. This goes to that. Who's telling the truth? It matters, if only that reason, Anna. Is there not curiosity on your part because of that?
What I'm curious about is why there's absolutely no discussion about his record on what he's done and what he's actually said publicly when it comes to women in positions of power. I mean, back in the 1980s, it wasn't even a popular position to believe that women had a place in politics. But he was out there publicly talking about the importance of including women in politics and encouraging women to run for president. So again, look, we don't know what was said in that room because no one was in there other than Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. The only thing that we can do is a character assessment by looking at his record.
But both things could be true,
What I've seen from his record is very impressive.
And he could have said these other things. And remember this, I'll tell you what, it's very rare that I hear people say a woman says that this happened, and we're saying we don't know what was said.
I think the
Senator
context,
Elizabeth Warren says she knows what happened.
I think the context matters, and I find it strange that Elizabeth Warren hasn't quoted what he said. All she said is, I think a woman can win. He disagreed with me, but what's the context?
That's fine.
So look,
I
if
just
we
think
don't
you
know
either
what was
own what
said
you
in
said
that
or you
room, I
don't.
think it's weird to keep talking about it.
I don't really have anything else to add to it.
That was good.
Yeah,
she has never said, here is exactly what he said.
Right.
And like, I was so frustrated. I saw Jennifer Rubin on Twitter tweeted I think it was like, either he said it or he's remembering it wrong. Or maybe she's remembering it wrong. Like I know that everybody wants you to be like, no, she just made up the entire thing. It was absolutely based on nothing. No, I think that something was said. I think he expressed a worry, a fear, a concern that everyone has, which is that the Republican Party, Donald Trump in particular, and generally America is pretty misogynistic.
Yes.
And that has an effect on politics. You'd have to be a moron to not acknowledge that. And it is possible that he said that in a way that she took it wrong. It just, if you're going to claim that he said something ridiculous like a woman can never win, you have to actually make that argument. It is a bold claim, it requires bold evidence.
Because anyone can say they had that conversation. Elizabeth Warren brought up that she doesn't believe a Jewish individual can win the presidency, right? If he had said that about her, do you just believe it?
I wouldn't.
You would want to know the context. Well, okay, but was there a worry that Trump would bring up anti-Semitic tropes and that would hurt Bernie? You know, like you have to, like you really need to understand what the exact quote was and what the context was.
Yeah.
And with that said, like I'm done with this story, okay? And I don't want to speculate about whether or not Elizabeth Warren knew she had a hot mic. There's a lot of stuff about that. There's all these theories about whether she's making a play to be Biden's VP pick.
I think she wants to be president and she's doing something that seems pretty apparently underhanded because she thinks it'll raise her chances.
That is my read of it as well. But at this point, we're not even talking about issues anymore. We're talking about an attempt to assassinate someone's character, and I don't think that it's helpful to Warren at all. And I hope that she takes note of that and she moves in a different direction. Because she did way better in the polls when she focused on progressive policy proposals. Go back to that, ignore the Obama and Hillary cronies that are currently working for your campaign.
TYT is all about challenging and disrupting the status quo, and so is Aspiration. Aspiration does not invest your money into fossil fuel businesses that harm our planet, such as pipelines and oil drilling. Instead, you'll be able to fight climate change with tools like AIM, the Aspiration Impact Measurement, and Planet Protection. They also don't hit you with outrageous fees for you to access your own money. You can even earn cash back and get free ATM uses up to 5 times a month. Head to aspiration.com/TYT to learn more. For a limited time, get 30 days of free TYT membership when you sign up.